vote, gal. Follow the white line down the road. And we go jam, gal. Follow the alliance down the road, down the road. Follow the white line.
Good evening. I am Sylveria Jacobs, and welcome to another edition of the National Alliance television program, a program created to inform you, the public, about National Alliance and what we plan to do for you for the upcoming 4 years.
Follow the white line down the road, and to the polls, gal. Follow the alliance down the road, and we go vote, gal. Follow the white line down the road, and we go.
Today's guest is none other than Mr. Cedric Peterson, a young and upcoming politician in this year's campaign. Not new to you, the people, but I'm sure you're willing and glad to hear what he has to say. Remember, we're here every Monday from 9 to 9:30 p.m. on cable TV channel 115. Cedric, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Sylveria, and thank you for inviting me and, of course, being a part of our program.
Yes, it is a pleasure, as always, for me to be here on a weekly basis. But of course, when I get to introduce new candidates, it's even more exciting because people are out there asking, they've heard us say we're renewing from within, they've heard us say we have a new logo, but it's a spin on the old one. And I'd like the people to know, who is Cedric Peterson? Not just the voice that they know, but who he is, in essence, his character, and what he hopes to bring to the table as a politician.
The voice thing has been...
Yes, sort of a crutch.
Exactly. And so this opportunity now to be able to speak to individuals is a good one in order to be able to get connected to the citizens of St. Martin. I'm born in St. Martin. I have a heritage that is St. Martin, St. Kitts, St. Martin, both French and Dutch. Just the other day, the Ref family, which is my family on the French side of the island, made a phone call on a radio program. And remember, he's not only James and a Peterson, but he's a Ref as well.
Okay.
So that is one of the key things that you always have to remember. And it's one of the key things that keeps me grounded as a young St. Martiner now, looking to run for office and running for office. The opportunity school-wise, I'm a proud graduate of, start from the MAC, St. Martin Academy, and then I went on to get my university education at the New England Institute of Technology in Rhode Island in 1997.
Okay.
That experience was absolutely amazing. I think it came at a right time. Most of our students normally get a chance to do it very young. I got it a little bit later in my early 20s.
Okay.
So I was mature enough to deal with the demand and challenges of college, which made it a lot more fun, actually, because I was able to focus on my career, which is audio, video production, and telecommunications. So the university experience really kind of sharpened me because St. Martin allowed me the opportunity to be able to grow within the field that I love, which is broadcasting, and take that to a different level. So I was raw, and then, of course, college
refined you quite a bit.
Exactly. So I took that opportunity, used it well, but the ambition was to return home. 2005, I came back to St. Martin. Careers seemed to have been kind of in the field, but yet parallel to it with other advertising, marketing, and things of this sort. And people would question me and ask me, well, why don't you get back into it? I said I would. Eventually I would get there. And apparently that's where I stuck for a little while. I currently work for the communications department within government. And, but the aspiration of wanting to do more, because one is educated, I always feel that you're given a responsibility.
Correct.
And a power, and with that power comes great responsibility. So the opportunity presented itself even clearer when we became a country in 2010. The transition from 2005 to 2010, we were in that process of creating, getting ready for country.
The country status.
So anyone who returned at that time had jumped on board at a time of movement, forward movement with the country. And I remember saying clearly in one of my a district council meeting that took place in St. Peter's, I said in front of the public, I said, I think I chose the perfect time to return home because anyone who stays away would have missed an opportunity to be a part of transition. So this was a perfect time. So I settled into that and continued to grow and come to the realization of what it is we were working on. 2010 came, I was able to have the privilege to work with Parliament, assisting Parliament in their recording, audio, video broadcast and capturing. And then that helped me to kind of get a good look at what the new powers of Parliament really meant and was about. And I made a decision at that point, and I kind of caught our party leader off guard and told him almost 2 years in advance of this race, make sure you count me in. I will be running in 2014.
Wow.
And that's when he knew 2 years in advance that I was going to be running. So I guess at some point in time the information got out. Now here we are.
Here we are.
Candidate number 11 on the National Alliance slate.
Thank you, Cedric. In case you're just joining us, we're having a conversation, an informative conversation with none other than the young and upcoming politician called Cedric Peterson. Many know him as The Voice. He has a wonderful speaking voice, but I believe now the public will get to know the substance of the man. You can also visit us on our Facebook pages to get more information on our party's manifesto. That's National Alliance St. Martin. And of course, you can find Cedric as well as all our candidates on there as well. Cedric, more now about that drive as to why you wanted to be part of not just the National Alliance, but to make a difference for St. Martin outside of broadcasting. What inspired you, or what do you feel, what is your main concern, or what do you feel you would like to or will be most apt to address?
Considering the experience that I've had, like I had said before in our last segment, it would have been the responsibility one has once they have been given an opportunity. One would think that once you get an education, it's all about the individual. But it's not. You are given an opportunity to now take another generation of young people and say, hey, listen, this was my path, this is what I did, this is what I encountered, but I can show you the way as well. Because our young people today, as you are clearly aware with your experience, especially as an educator and then becoming a minister responsible for an area that you hold so dear to yourself, you realize our children are challenged in certain areas. They have opportunities that if they're not guided to, they would not be able to take full advantage of.
That's true.
This is not something that I think is something that is privileged only for a few. It has to be opened to everyone. So the only difference will be at some point is a person's ambition, because the playing field is leveled, it's equal. So we have an opportunity now, and this is where I look forward to working with you, Silveria, as we go forward and the people give us that mandate.
Thank you.
is being able to team up to help further and strengthen education. Sports, for example, within the ministry that you held for some time. I talked about it earlier today in an interview that I had on radio. You have an opportunity to grow sports in a way where we are organized, because I was told, right, a strong organization will always win.
Right.
So if we are able to then look at certain key experiences certain people have had in St. Martin, where they grab one potential person and the parent of that person takes that person through getting sponsors to try to see the vision that this person has for their child.
Right.
But what if I'm able to take that and put it into a policy that is widened to allow every student through an organized program of sports from elementary to high school, straight up, we could then say, because of our structure, our system structure, it can connect with other great areas where we can see our next NBA player, we can see our next Olympiad. We have the opportunity now to create these things for our children and allow our children to grow. So that's one facet. You have telecommunications, which is dear to my heart. And as a bachelor of the field, I'm looking at how our children connect. Our children now, based on research that I've done, is a little bit behind the curve when it comes to internet connectivity.
Right.
The States is currently challenged with this, stating we are receiving minimal service at higher rates, higher cost. Now is to try to get internet access available to every household, giving our children an opportunity to do a new level of research. Because you know how kids are these days.
Yes.
The days of asking people, are you aware of? And a person says to you, back then, when we were growing up, it would be, I don't know. Today, with Google at one's fingertips, it's no longer I don't know, but in fact, I don't know yet.
Yes.
Okay? Not yet. Give me a second. And within seconds, our generation of today can
Has
access to information and speeds never before seen. Our great-grandparents and great-great-parents would have never had this type of access to information. So with this, we have to start making sure that our children can be at the equivalent level of where the rest of the world is when it comes to connectivity of high-speed internet access. I used the example of a teenager who graduated in 2012 from Antigua, being the top CXC student, having all general subjects, passing all of them with 1, and making top news throughout the region. Asked, how did you do it? What was it that contributed to your success? This child's simple answer was, I have the internet. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, if it's that simple, and then St. Martin is sitting on fiber optic technology, which is what makes us, hey, this island has something going for it because it's sitting at the top level of what telecommunications is all about these days, fiber optics. So with this being in our backyard, we have opportunities that we must start to bring ourselves up to speed with, and thus connecting to the global network of things.
How do you see you being elected to Parliament forwarding these goals that you have for more connectivity for our children, better access to education and sports and the like? How do you see yourself in Parliament making that even more possible?
It's the legislation process. That report that I'm talking about specifically as it relates to connectivity goes to the heart of just that issue. That's what I wanted to see while I was reading it. It's a 14-page report. And in that indicated the price differences that exist between a telecommunications company in the States who then extends itself and wants to break into the London market. The price in the States is $30. When the company reaches to London, London says, your rate will be 15. The next paragraph in that report specifically talks about the fact that the reason why T-Mobile cannot get, or that specific telecommunications company, cannot get the rate that they have in the States and London is because of legislation.
Oh.
You cannot bring your company into our country and offset the sensitive balance with other telecommunications companies that exist within the market. Our unique situation in St. Martin just the other day, the parliamentary debate was between UTS and Telemerging. My ultimate question out of that is, what is the benefit to the consumer?
Correct.
Okay?
Actually,
next to protecting the jobs of the people who work there, I can understand that's the business aspect of it.
Right.
But the end result is, how is it going to benefit the consumer?
All of us.
Exactly. Does that help us with bringing the cost of connectivity down, which is currently really high?
That's what I wanted to address. People recently, actually, in the streets were asking me about the speeds we are getting, for the prices we're paying, compared to, for instance, a US, and how when the tourists come here, they're like flabbergasted. They can't download videos they can't get their videos downloaded, they can't get a lot of stuff done, while, you know, the thing is saying 4G and 3G and what's not. But for some reason, the speeds are not up to par. Would the legislation, you think, be able to help with that?
Legislation definitely will help with that. Next to the controlling of the prices, getting those unregulated, the next step would be allowing individuals to be able to afford these packages, because the companies now are actually talking about fiber to the home. Now, when you start talking to me about fiber to the home, I then pull up the same report and I realize that the prices for fiber to the home topple out at around $150 to $300. But speeds of 100 Mbps, megabits per second, and 150 megabits per second. Right now, the current rate in St. Martin is $160 to $300. $160 for 8 Mbps, and $300 for a maximum of 10 Mbps. So if this is what we're currently dealing, you can see the large discrepancy between those numbers. And you can see how it can become very difficult to see a future with our kids coming up and they're trying to advance themselves, but yet they can't move at the speeds in which other young people around the world are moving at. So our kids end up getting left behind. No productivity, or minimal productivity. And that's what we're trying to build as a party. the National Alliance is encouraging and trying to combat these type of situations so that we are able to help our people to progress. So this is an opportunity that we have. One might ask, well, how does that help me to eat today? And that was the issue whenever I come up with this, though it's a topic that's very dear to me. How does that help? But it is in fact the ground in which one can launch, the platform from which one can launch into a brighter future. We have social issues, as you clearly are aware, and this is something that the National Alliance as a party represents from the ground up.
Correct.
We have an opportunity to be able to connect people through our social development system, and ultimately we're trying to get them connected to what's coming down the line for a future.
Right.
Our kids have to be able to meet the demand that they have to face when they leave school. How are they going to embrace it with confidence if they haven't been trained properly or given the necessary tools to do what they have to do?
So education, priority one.
Correct.
I don't mean to break you, but I need to remind our viewers this evening that you're listening to candidate number 11, Cedric Peterson, on the National Alliance slate. I could say National Alliance since he born, but he's been with us. He's been with us, but always in a respectful manner, knowing his job and broadcasting and maintaining a certain level of distance. The people of St. Martin have heard a little bit. He's been on several talk shows and interviews, and we've heard very good reviews from you because, of course, you're well-spoken, you can represent yourself well, but your ideas, and I think this idea that you're talking about, Cedric, in terms of bringing our future now into play, because we keep hearing the future, the future, the future, and I know I heard you in one of your interviews saying the future is here. The future is here, Cedric is here, and the National Alliance is all about education first. And technology plays a very big role in education, and I don't think it's getting enough attention, not only in the schools, and I think this is probably too why we're losing some of our children.
Correct.
They are the technology natives. They were born into this.
That's right.
And we are the ones, well, you've been, that's your area, but the majority of us, over 40 and 50, we only use technology for fun. And most of our children are only using technology for fun. And I think that is an injustice for the amount of information that they can get without having to ask anyone. And they usually do it for the wrong reasons. Exactly. So with this, I would like to say, use your technology, but use it wisely. Exactly. It's one of the best educational tools. And we have in our manifest talked about more technology in the classrooms, but also economically, e-businesses. And with your talk about getting our parliament to pass the laws that would make it affordable, we would be more than halfway there.
Correct.
Do you see there's something as attainable in the next 4 years?
Yeah, I think so. And the reason why is because of the statistics of measurement that's taking place around the world right now when it comes to connectivity and realizing it's a part of the developing world. So when you look at the various developing countries, one of the primary things they focus on is in fact an affordable and efficient telecommunications / transportation system when it comes to developing countries. And this is just a small aspect of what it is that's taking place. But getting our kids prepared, and a perfect example of that, like you mentioned, computers in the classroom. Not everyone is capable of being able to operate at the most modern level. So I don't want to say that it is a big problem across the board and all of our kids are in dire straits.
We have
classrooms.
But they have become the ones we had gotten with the whole change into the foundation-based education system.
Correct.
The ones we had gotten, and we have to thank the Netherlands for the investment they made in changing and upgrading our systems and stuff, but the maintenance of it was not well managed.
There you go.
And this is something that has plagued St. Martin. Even when I was there was a one laptop per child project that we were pushing for as well, but the funding never was returned from Curacao to be able to do so. So that's another area where we have to look, but there have been several studies done. They had the one laptop per child in St. Kitts and in other islands, and they had the same issue with the material becoming obsolete.
Correct.
So quickly. It changes so quickly.
Correct.
So it wouldn't behoove us to buy a whole lot, But because of the way we teach now in smaller groups, to at least have 5 or 6 per classroom.
Correct.
And I think that would be our goal in getting it forward, because then the change is not then that expensive. Or the upgrades are not that expensive.
But I think it's also clever budgeting as well, because
Yes.
you anticipate that you are working with the technology. Because
That is
remember,
quite
that is
changeable.
constantly changing. And the thing about it is that they're actually changing so much faster now. It forces consumers, it forces us to be creative in education so that we're not spending unnecessary money for every
Exactly.
upgrade. So what we have to do is be able to settle down and realize, is the upgrade needed at this particular point?
Correct.
Do the assessment. Find out if we do this upgrade, will it be benefiting our students at a different level that we can prepare them for tomorrow? Is this a demand within the work field? So these are the things that you need to take into consideration if you're going to be preparing and trying to keep up with a developing world with technology. When we come to transportation, I made mention of, for example.
Right.
We got a lot of big projects that are being showcased. The one that's been sitting in my mind for quite some time, actually, when it comes to transportation in St. Martin and being creative. You take a small assessment of St. Martin. You have 13 feet above the sea elevation of the land. Can I go underground if I'm thinking transportation? No. Terrain is too wet. Moisture problems. Can we broaden the highways, broaden the roads? We have 2 lanes right now. Can we get that to happen? Challenges there. You're looking at private land, negotiations. It would be too long of a process to try to get from 2 lanes to 3 or 4.
Across the board, for sure.
Across the board. So the only other option is to go up. I said, okay, well, what we're going to do is look at maglev trains. Maglev trains is something that is being introduced. For example, you see this in Germany, you would see this in Japan and China. You go to China, for example, and the first thing you're transported on is a maglev train as you go from one terminal to the next. And I'm looking at this technology and I'm saying to myself, first and foremost, it's green, it's energy friendly, because it's not using any oils, it's not using any rotary wheels of the classic trains of old. But what you're looking at is a very expensive system, but it's something that you can invest in for the long term. Because what ends up happening is, for St. Martin, you can redesign this to fit our infrastructure. And now you have an opportunity to run parallel to the 2 lanes that we are heavily congested with. You can't maintain a bus schedule today. You can't tell a person that you'll be able to get out of St. Peter's by 7:30 and make it to town for 8 when the bus is still dealing with the heavy traffic congestion and has to sit in traffic just like everybody else. So how effective would that type of transportation system be? So the only way is, in fact, to actually look at the possibilities of being creative and going up and creating railways, magnetic levitation, that will allow us to have something that protects our environment, and on top of that, an efficient way to get people from point A to point B and transporting people on the island. This is something
very innovative.
It's very innovative. Very innovative.
Most people are like, what?
Well, and this is the St. Martin of the future that I envision. And the reason why I envision that is because we're not sitting in the world by ourselves. We have great things happening on Earth that St. Martin is a part of. So when our children do the search on the net, they're seeing these visions in their head. They're seeing the greatness if they get a chance to travel. And these are the things that they would like to see. Hey, is this a possibility at home? I can see it. I'm encouraging the citizens of St. Martin to see it as well and realize how that can be a very, very creative job, a job that pays well, calls for people to
diversify the possibilities for jobs as well.
Correct. We have such limited time and there's so much things to discuss. But the thing I would like to leave St. Martin with is the importance of voting. August 29th, 2014, I've seen consistently since I've returned home, 70% of the voting populace come out. Can you imagine, of the 20-something thousand plus, only 70% keeps on coming out to vote. So we need to encourage the other 30%. So please, August 29th, 2014, come out, cast your vote to the National Alliance. Cast your vote for candidate number 11. If there's anything that you would like to talk to me about, I invite you to contact me. I'm on Facebook, facebook.com/Cedric Peterson for Parliament. So I look forward to hearing from you, the citizen.
In case you've just joined us, we're coming to almost the end. We still have about 2 more minutes of our interview with the very dynamic and forward-thinking Cedric Peterson. I myself am quite, I'm in awe. I think the viewers might say, wow, she didn't speak so much today. And I'm very happy because, Cedric, you had a lot to say. And I'm very happy that you're able to convey what is in your heart for St. Martin and to allow the people to see that though you are new to politics, you're not new to the way things work in Parliament. You have been there as an eye. You've been looking for the past 4 years and before that at how the developments have been going. And I do believe you do have a very strong contribution to make to this country we call St. Martin, this country that we love dearly. And you fit completely in with the vision of the National Alliance as a forward-moving team, as a team that had put St. Martin first. So I would like to say congratulations for taking that big step in joining the National Alliance at this level to step out there for the people. It is a challenging task, so I wish you much strength. Eat well, and take good care of yourself because the campaign trail is long. We're only into the 2nd week, and I would like to encourage our viewers that the National Alliance has a full slate of 23 persons who are vying for your vote. Not just because we want to say that we did it, but because we have St. Martin at heart. We have the people of St. Martin and the well-being of this country, the future viability and sustainability of this country at heart. So go out on August 29th and vote for the National Alliance. Vote for our leader or any of the other 22 candidates on the list because we have enough persons on that list to fill the seats of Parliament as well as the Council of Ministers and be able to govern this country with integrity, with the knowledge of what the people want because we always come to you, and with all that we have to serve the people of St. Martin. Thank you so much for listening, for looking, for viewing, and come back again next week on Monday when you will see another edition of the National Alliance television program. Good evening.
National Alliance.